Hi, my name's Becky Dungeon Girl, and today I'm going to ruin dice. Dice and role-playing games are inexorably linked, and have been since their first inception. Almost all role-playing games use dice. If this was a business, the monopoly would be so great that just about every government commission would be investigating them. The vast majority use the polyhedral dice set, D4, 6, 8, 10, 12 and 20. There are a number of exceptions. Some games like to mix it up a little bit by having customised dice, games such as Fate or the Star Wars role-playing games from Fantasy Flight. And there are a tiny, tiny handful that use cards. And all role players have asked the question at some point, do my dice hate me? Anyone who knows anything about statistics will immediately say, no. Sometimes you just get a run of bad luck. If you understand the nature of random numbers, then actually dice can generate a string of low numbers in sequence, and we as humans think that something must be up, there must be some reason for this. Like if you get a human to generate a number between 1 and 6 randomly and do a couple of hundred times, and then you actually generate a genuine random number that many times, invariably the genuinely generated random number will have the same numbers in sequence, whereas the human will try to make everything look random all the way through. So, for the most part, no, your dice don't hate you. Except, actually, these dice have two possible flaws. Firstly, they're opaque, which means we can't see what's inside them. And that means anything could be in there, such as, for example, a cheap filler. And is that cheap filler evenly balanced in weight? And in this case, I'm sorry to tell you, the odds aren't in your favour with an opaque dice. The vast majority of them are filled with a cheap filler. Translucent dice, however, can't be filled in that manner. It would be obvious. But does that mean my translucent dice are going to be fair and give me a genuinely random number? Nope. If we look at these dice closely, even the translucent ones, we notice that all of these edges are rounded off and smooth. There's two reasons for it. Firstly, odds are, when this was made, it was on a sprue. That sprue has to be cut, and consequently, there is a sprue mark. This is not very aesthetically pleasing, so that has to be got rid of. The other thing, particularly on opaque dice, although it's still true for most translucent dice, is that there's paint here. So what happens is they get these dice and they put them in a tumbler, or a rock tumbler, and crush them together until that little spur from the sprue is gone. And on the second coat of paint, until it's worn away sufficiently that you can read the number. This tumbling is not even. It's quite random and chaotic in a rock tumbler. That means your dice aren't balanced. So they actually genuinely might hate you. There are a few solutions to this, such as these dice. If we take a close look at these edges, you'll notice that they're very squared off. And if we look closer still, we notice there's a sprue cut just here. That's because these dice have never been near a rock tumbler, and these silver numbers were hand painted. These dice, however, are quite expensive, but they are cheaper than machined dice, which are dice that are formed from a solid block of metal that is then machined away to be perfectly even. But even machined dice aren't as good as casino dice, where the law stipulates they have to be to such fractions of a micron in deviation that they really are the most fair dice you can possibly get. These are only any good if you're playing with D6s.